podcast host, I have talked with hundreds of facility management and workplace leaders, but I've always dreamed of taking these conversations on the road. My next guest is Peter Van Emburgh, Senior Vice President and Global Head of Real Estate at CBRE. I have crossed paths with Peter many times at Cornet and other industry events, but little did I know we were practically neighbors here in Northern Virginia. My name is Mike Petrusky, and this is On My Way to Work.
Someone call a ride share?
Mike.
How you doing?
I'm good. Good to see you.
Good morning. Nice to see you.
This is the Eptura Transit. But yeah, this is a long time coming, Peter. We've known each other for a long time.
Long time, probably over 10 years.
And just met when we found out we were practically neighbors. This is unbelievable.
I had no idea. The infamous Innovator podcast, Workplace Innovator podcast, is right in my backyard.
Who knew? The DC suburbs, everybody.
We'll get a good taste of traffic.
I was going to say, which is the best way to go for coffee? Just
let's go left. Let's
okay.
go to Katie's.
You know, talk to people like you who are in, obviously, the depths of our world. You know, CBRE, huge presence in the real estate world, but then you're actually a practitioner making decisions and helping your employees. What are we talking about? 100,000 employees or so?
I got about 115,000 cooks in the kitchen.
Wow.
At CBRE.
So you're in it with the rest of my audience, the people who are making their workspaces work for the people, and that's what we talk about on the show, is this human side of things. And I just wonder where you are today. What is top of mind? What are you thinking about when it comes to these things?
Well, so I lead my team. We have about 550 offices around the world, 6 million square feet, running real estate for a real estate company, of course. And with that comes a healthy bit of scrutiny.
Yeah,
but it's also really, really fulfilling. It keeps me on my A game. Take it right here.
Okay.
Because we have to really think about, as we're advising our clients, the first question they ask, well, what are you doing for yourselves?
Yeah.
So me and my team, we are focused on three key things right now. One is the whole idea around right-sizing the office is nothing new. But what we're focused on is how to get that buzz zone, fully activated office day one. And you know it when you feel it, Mike. Like you walk into an office and it is just bumping. There's a vibe.
Yeah.
It's activated. In probably CRE parlance, you'd say, oh, it's about 70 to 80% utilized or occupied. But really, I'm looking for the outcome of a buzzy, activated office.
Yeah.
And that's something we've been taking very, very seriously and taking a hard look at. My executives look at our utilization stats all the time. We've got sensors across all of our major offices to really measure peak and average utilization, but to use that information to make sure we're planning and programming for that right-sized office day one, and it's working. So over 10 years, the Workplace 360 program, we've taken people's names off the wall plates and off offices and really embraced hoteling, flexible, free address, activity-based work.
Excellent.
And our portfolio in the U.S. has remained relatively flat, even as the company has grown 3x.
Wow.
And we've added about 25% capacity.
Amazing.
That's the first thing we're focused on. The second thing we're focused on is how are we earning the commute like we're doing here?
That's right.
To Tyson's. How are we earning the commute for our employees so that when they walk into that office, you know, no one wants to go to an empty restaurant. They certainly don't want to go to an empty office.
That's right.
So how do we make sure we're earning that commute? And we recognize the fact that work happens anywhere. We fully expect, I mean, we took their names off the doors already. So we're not forcing them to come in. We don't have a mandate, you see in the newspaper. But we want to instead place the onus on us as a CRE organization to think about how are we earning the commute. Better workplace technology, better amenities, better location, better for the environment. Of course, all the other benefits like collaboration, but also If you need to be at your most productive self in an enclosed office, that's great. We got that. We got you. So we're really focused on the experience of how people feel a sense of belonging when they walk into a CBRE office. And that, I think, will be a brand statement, just as the look and feel and the design of our award-winning offices. The third thing, and then I'll break. The third thing, Mike, that we're focused on is how are we making our offices the most inclusive and accessible workplaces we can. And this one's personal to me. So I am a father to an autistic son.
Mm-hmm.
I think about him as I'm signing 10-year deals, as he is 10 years from now potentially entering the workforce.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about how are we not designing for extroverts? How are we designing this variety of inclusive workplaces that allow our people to thrive? And one area that we did this was I partnered with the CBRE's Abilities Employee Networking Group, and we did a hackathon. Like, here's our design standards, take it apart.
Nice.
And they did. I mean, the wallpaper in the focus room was too distracting for someone on Zoom. The rectangular shaped conference rooms designate a sense of hierarchy. The in-person and virtual meeting room experience needs to be more equitable through killer workplace technology.
Sure.
The reception desk needs to be multi-layered height, like all these sort of things. It's just something I'm personally really, really proud of our efforts to making a more inclusive workplace.
It's all good stuff, Peter, and it's what I'm hearing about. It's the focus on that employee and the experience they're going to have, the reason for the office, not return to work, get back here. It's more about no one size fits all, and let's accommodate as many folks as possible to help them bring their best selves, and we all thrive in that environment. So I love it. I love hearing what you're doing. I love all of that, and it's inspiring. So hey, we're on the way to work. How often do you do this, Peter?
So I have a global role, so I do travel quite a bit. We're
Right.
opening about, even in the U.S. alone, about 15 offices a year, big offices. So I am going to my office in Tyson's Corner, Virginia, about 2 to 3 times a week.
Great.
Sometimes I'll go to D.C. or Bethesda, but typically 2 to 3 times a week I'm going to Tyson's.
And we're in an area, I know this because we're literally neighbors, there's really not public transportation. You got to get into a car and get going, and that's why it's still not ideal, but it's the way we get ourselves to work, and that's why you want to make sure it's got value to it. Why invest the time when you can do a lot of the work you're doing at home?
That's right.
And is this something you're making that decision week by week, day by day, or do you have kind of a strategy laid out that you follow?
For me personally,
Yeah.
it's pretty much week by week because I'm not the most organized person and just fly by the seat of my pants.
Sounds like me.
But yeah, I mean, it's, there's definitely certain meetings or events I have to accommodate to and organize around. But I love our new space in Tysons. We're in the borough. It's a new Class A mixed-use development.
Beautiful.
Which really is a microcosm of a lot of our site selection strategy around the country. In particular, we're looking for highly activated live, work, play communities that are near the metro. I mean, we're coming from west of Tysons, so we can't really take the metro, but you could. There's the largest Whole Foods on the East Coast right there. It's a really dynamic, exciting place, and it's a healthy building. We're really prioritizing ESG, sustainability. So the health of the building, the health of the community is also really important to us.
Excellent. I love hearing that. So what are we doing on the commute, Peter? You listening to music, listening to podcasts? If not, I can recommend one.
Oh, tell me. Maybe I've heard of a couple.
Workplace
That was
Innovator?
self-serving.
I was going to
That
say.
was good.
Shameless DJ Mike P promotion. Man, we've been through a lot, and many of us forget how tough it was to be locked down and on Zoom only and not have the choice. I'm all for flexibility. I'm all for choice. I want people to be empowered to have that autonomous ability to make the best decision for them. I think we all agree with that. And then we have this thing where it's like, left to my own devices, I sometimes make bad choices for myself. How do you deal with that as a leader?
Well, I agree with you. I also feel like it's not necessarily the fact that we're people and humans and we need to have other humans' connections around us. Technology can facilitate that. What I think is hard, though, is the office can help facilitate this sense of belonging. Everyone, I think, intrinsically, whether you're an extrovert, introvert, whatever, you need to feel that you have a tribe and that you have a sense of belonging and a sense of community. And that's one of the things that we're starting to really tie at CBRE, this idea of what we're spending in capital expenditures on our workplaces and what is the direct correlation it's having on employee engagement. Huge metric being tracked at the enterprise level. So trying to really track some of the ROI and going beyond just the age-old CRE metrics of productivity or show up and badge data. How is this really reinforcing our culture and sense of belonging as a company through our workplaces? What's that correlation? That's just something I'm pretty passionate about tracking right now.
That holistic view of the workplace and what it could be. I love it. All right. Well, hey, Peter, we're getting close to your office in Tyson's Corner. Before I drop you off, I got to hear your take on technology, workplace technology, things that could help enhance the employee experience. What are you thinking?
So I'm big on the sensor technology, which is nothing new. They've been around forever. I remember piloting some heat map sensor underneath the desk and it would just like fall off and my boss would be like, what the heck is this? It just fell off my desk.
Right. Are you spying on me?
Right,
that?
Of course. And, but no, we, right before the pandemic, I had been getting a call every week. We're out of space. We're out of space. We're out of space. We're out of space. And it kind of dawned upon me that as we as CRE professionals have never really had an effective way to measure how space is being consumed and used.
Yeah.
So I had this one business unit leader said, we're totally out of space. Get me another floor, which would be like a $10 million commitment plus CapEx. And I had just walked that space and I was like, there is no way in hell that we're out of space there. So
but how do you prove it, Peter?
So we did a pilot with, threshold sensors just at the doorway. So to cover a whole floor, we did 6 sensors, bodies in, bodies out, totally anonymous at the source. So it wasn't any spy craft. I was still am very much against low-res camera solutions. I just don't want to be in the newspaper about some employer putting cameras above people's desks and watching people work. So as a result of that pilot, we were able to show that you only hit 90% peak one time in a 4-month study. And at which the business unit leader said, see, I told you, we're out of space. I said, but that was between 12 and 1 during Diwali, and you had a lunchtime celebration. And there were still 100 seats available.
Right.
So it just shut that up. It was a total mic drop moment. Our C-suite loved it. And so we deployed it everywhere, across really everywhere of our big offices in the U.S., so about 2.2 million square feet. And with that data, we've been able to make really smart portfolio strategy decisions, getting out of bad space, normalize the space, restructuring spaces, consolidating, etc. But the other thing that we're starting to do, in 4 locations, we deployed open area sensors, which is, again, anonymous, but they are like 200 sensors on a floor. I don't need to do this everywhere, but the lessons and the learning and the data I'm capturing from this is so fascinating. Like I was talking about the variety of space types we're introducing in the new furniture solutions. I'm now able to actually use data to prove how people are voting with their feet once they go to the office.
Excellent.
I mean, you remember like this, clients or executives being like, no one sits in that Herman Miller tulip chair. It's beautiful, but no one sits there.
Right.
and it would be kind of he said, she said. And now I've got the data to really prove it out.
Data doesn't lie.
Data don't lie.
And here comes the borough, home of CBRE in Northern Virginia. Peter, I'm going to drop you off here. Hope you've enjoyed the ride.
A little more conversation than I asked for.
I know.
Uber.
The app was clear.
Temperature was perfect.
Temperature cool. Please, no conversation. And the driver just couldn't help himself. The last thing I'll ask you, Peter, is advice. My audience says, Mike, I just spent 20 or 30 minutes listening to a podcast and your bad singing. What can I take away from this conversation? Give me something, a nugget, some practical advice as we head into the future of work together.
I would say, the industry undoubtedly is changing so much right now. And it is, I think, never been a more exciting time to be part of the CRE or FM community. But this is also the time to take risks. If we don't take risks, we don't learn. And if we don't learn, we don't transform, we don't change, we don't innovate. So if we really want to help shape the future of work, the future of belonging, the future of human-centric work connections, we have to take those risks. We have to be bold.
Awesome. Perfect. I love it.
Thanks
Peter,
for the ride.
you're welcome.
This was fun.
Welcome to work. Have a great day.
Hey, best Uber ride ever.
Go get 'em.
This is great.